Combined Forces Command Deputy C4 and United States Forces Korea Director J4, I'd like to welcome you to today's promotion ceremony honoring Major Christopher Tramontana's promotion to Lieutenant Colonel. Please stand for the arrival of the official party and the playing of the national anthem. Everyone, please be seated. Presiding over and officiating today's ceremony is Brigadier General David Wilson. Today's honoree, Major Christopher Tramontana. At this time, I would like to welcome our distinguished guests in attendance today. Colonel Jeffrey Dukakis, United States Forces Korea, J4, Joint Sustainment Division Chief. Colonel Kimberly Nash, United States Forces Korea, J4, Plans and Operations Division Chief. Colonel David Fazenmaker, Transportation Command, LNO, and Mess Sergeant Ruben Sherry, United States Forces Korea, J4, Senior Enlisted Leader. Major Tramontana's wife, Rachel, their daughters, Sona and Yuna, and their neighbors and friends. I'd also like to extend a warm welcome to all guests joining us today. Ladies and gentlemen, Brigadier General Wilson will now say a few words about today's honoree.
All right, can y'all hear me, or do I need to go to the mic?
Yes, sir.
All right, that's good. Well, I got a, I'm thinking about Chris's, family's in the habit of doing family vacation. And one of the things I want to tell you all, his nickname is the Holiday Maker. You all heard me talk about the holiday and weekend killer, the chief of staff that I worked for in the 1st Army Division. But Chris has his nickname as the Holiday Maker. And how it came to be about this one particular year, Chris been married a little over 6 years, 11 months, going on 7 years or so. This one vacation, a couple years in, they decided to take. But Rachel could not leave when Chris wanted to leave. So Rachel went on to work and said, hey, honey, I'll fly tomorrow and meet you there. You go ahead on today and get things set up. So Chris flew off on down to the Caribbean where this vacation was going to occur at. And as he was typing his email after he got checked in to tell Rachel that, everything's good, I'm set, typed the wrong email address, had it a couple off. So it went to this this elderly preacher's wife, the email went to, unfortunately. So all of a sudden this preacher's wife opened up, checking her computer, and what Chris didn't know is the preacher's wife's husband had just passed the previous day, passed away. And so she saw this email from the holiday maker, and she screamed out, fell on the floor, just collapsed. Kids came running upstairs to see what happened after they got her up and composed. So what's going on? She points at the computer screen. So kids go over to the computer screen and look, and there's an email from the holiday maker. It says, "Dearest wife, just checked into my room. Everything is set for your arrival tomorrow." Yes, it sure is hot down here. All jokes aside. But you know, he's not a holiday maker, he's a way maker. And it's a testament of his professional performance and career. You know, promotions are not based on past performance, it's based on demonstrated future potential. And Chris has demonstrated future potential in his service now and service in the past that got him to this point. And he's done Herculean efforts along the way. You know, Chris is a native of New York, was commissioned out in ROTC out of Siena College there in New York as an infantry officer, went off to the infantry officer's basic course, and was assigned to an infantry assignment in the 258 Infantry, where he ultimately served as the company executive officer for Delta Company 258 Infantry. Following his infantry assignment, he sent him off to the captain's career course. And at that time, his then assignments officer, Gary Grubb, who was the ordnance captain's assignments officer, who was working with me at HRC, had the unfortunate duty to send everybody out of Chris's class on a military transition team assignment, the first MIT group that got sent out. He was in that unfortunate class. Only 2 officers did not go on MIT assignments out of that class that he was in. And of course, he did his training and then went off and served as a military transition team advisor to the 7th MTR, Motorized Transport Regiment. Following his tour of duty as a MIT team advisor, he was assigned to Fort Drum, New York, to the 548 CSSBN, which that time he served as a battalion S3 and then went on to take command of the 514th Maintenance Company. So in 2009, my paths did cross with Chris for the first time. And at LSA Anaconda, if anybody know where that is, if you spent any time in Iraq, that's Balad Air Base. And that's where he was assigned as part of Operation Iraqi Freedom, Operation New Dawn, doing the Operation Clean Sweep mission. We're trying to get all of the stuff out of there. And so his maintenance company was doing some heavy lifting. As at a point where I ran into him and a gentleman that spoke highly of Chris, named Chris Mohan, who his company fell up under at that time. And so, you know, Chris Mohan talked a little bit about it. Extends his regards. He's currently on his capstone training assignment out of the country, living out of the back of the C-17, like I did last year. But he extends his utmost congratulations to you and your family for the hard work and dedication that you've put in over the years. And so, you know, after redeploying from his assignment as a company commander, Chris got his first rub here in Korea in the 8th Army G4 Mobility Sea Branch, where he worked. And he put in some great work as part of 8th Army. After leaving here, Chris then went on to another assignment. And he had the fortunate benefit at that time to get his first touch of ACRC assignment, so to speak, in the 167th TSC, which was the CONUS TSC at the time. And Chris and my path crossed briefly again. I had command of the 406 Army Field Support Brigade at Fort Bragg, responsible for 26 states east of the Mississippi River, plus Fort Polk, Louisiana. This thing called Hurricane Sandy hit. And he was thrust in the midst of that disc operations and supporting that. So while I had same support, had people push the Joint Base, McGuire, Dix, Lakehurst, and down into the city of New York, supporting that operation. Chris then left the 167. Following that tour of duty, and then came over here to Korea again for a second tour, where he served in the 1st Signal Brigade as a Brigade S4, and knocked out his key developmental job in a sterling fashion. Following that assignment, Chris proved himself in the ACRC realm, supporting DISCA, that they put him back in a DISCA assignment as the operations officer in the Defense Coordination Element in New York, in the FEMA region too, where he did phenomenal work in that DISCA assignment prior to his arrival here in Korea this past summer, where he's been with us the whole time. And so he's known as the man that put the B-1 bunker back into operable status and continue to work on building the alliance with his efforts and then reaching out to the Rock Transcom and C4 Mobility Branch and getting out across the entire peninsula, looking at infrastructure and sites in which we would leverage capabilities in order to sustain the alliance during contingency operations. He threw himself right into the job, leveraged all of the experience that he has, and helped us really update some of our assumptions for our plans. So Chris, for all your hard work that you've done in that space, we want to personally offer our sincere thanks to you and congratulate you on this soon-to-be promotion that we're going to do. He, of course, couldn't do it by himself. You know, he has a phenomenal family. His wife, Rachel, who works in the local area as a realtor. A little known fact about Rachel. Rachel spends countless time volunteering, helping kids back in the Philippines. And that's a phenomenal thing, investing in the youth. Remember, I talked about if you want to harvest a year, you grow a crop. If you want to harvest in 10 years, you grow trees. If you want to harvest that'll last a lifetime, you grow people. And Rachel's in the business of growing people, kids. And that's a powerful thing, and you guys should be proud of that. With them today, two daughters, Sona, who is a junior at Camp Humphreys High School and wants to join the U.S. Air Force upon graduation. And then daughter, Una, who is a sophomore at Camp Humphreys High School, who wants to be a professional chef after she gets done college. So Chris, we're looking forward to trying some of the dishes that she's going to prepare and send over here for the office for us all to sample. And then we will do some sponsoring if she wants to go on one of these cooking show competitions on, that they normally broadcast in the States. We're down for supporting that effort as well. But he couldn't do it without the love and the support of his family. And so I thank you all for supporting him. And I thank all of you all for your service to this nation. And so I pontificated enough and talked about Chris enough. We're going to ask Chris to come up and the family to come up. We're going to come to some orders and do this promotion.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Attention to orders. The President of the United States, acting upon the recommendation of the Secretary of the Army, has placed special trust and confidence in the patriotism, integrity, and abilities of Major Christopher M. Tramontana. In view of these special qualities and his demonstrated potential to serve in the next higher grade, Major Tramontana is promoted to the grade of Lieutenant Colonel, United States Army, effective first day of February 2019 by the order of the Secretary of the Army. Major Tramontana will now be pinned on by Rachel, Sona, and Una.
But before I give you this, I saw a lot of rank going on and smiling happening, but no smooching. we're about to do dates back to really 1789. That's the first time that the first United States Congress instituted to ratify Article 4 of the Constitution. The current form in which we use was instituted in 1861. You all know what was happening then. U.S. Civil War, President Abraham Lincoln required the federal civilian employees to take an oath because he was concerned about treason in the ranks, given what the South had just done and seceding from the Union, as well as some of the Northern sympathizers that may not have been loyal. And so from that, the oath as we know it today evolved, and from that time on, we've been all taking an oath, whether we've been federal civilian employees, entering officers, or military officers, judges, so on and so forth, since that time. So a pretty significant event, a significant thing. You want to swear or affirm? Swear. Okay. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your full name.
I, Christopher Michael Tramontano,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States.
the Constitution of the United States.
Shall bear true faith and allegiance
I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same,
to the same,
that I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office upon which I'm about to enter,
of the office upon which I am about to enter,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Ladies and gentlemen, our newest Lieutenant Colonel of the United States Army.